Hey guys, so what I wanted to do was, if we were in class, I would have handed you guys this review, and then I would have kind of walked you through some of the questions and kind of explain what you're supposed to do, little reminders. So that's what I wanted to do in this video, just make a little video of kind of reminding you on what to do on some of these problems and what the expectations are. Okay, so the very first thing is at the very bottom of this review. If you printed the review, great. If you're just going to do it on notebook paper, that's fine as well. But if you scroll down to the third page, you're going to see a formula sheet which contains all the formulas that you will need when we take a test over this. So again, if you can print it out and you can fill this out, that's great. If not, you could pull this up on your computer. So there's all the formulas you're going to need in one place. The sum and difference, the double angle formulas, and the half angle formulas. Okay, so you'll need those handy. You're also going to need a chart. Okay, to solve the equations and to do some of these problems, you're going to need your chart filled out. So obviously, when you guys take this test, this is going to be an open note test. There's no way we can fairly make it not open note, so it will be an open note test. So if you've got a chart filled out from your notes, you can use that as well. Okay, so that's a formula sheet for you. All right, so for numbers 1, 2, and 3, those you're going to be using the sum and difference identities to solve these. So again, what you're going to do is you need to take each of these angles and you need to split them into two angles. So 165, I need to think of that as the sine of something plus something. Okay, so maybe 45 and 120. Okay, because 45 is on my chart and 120 is not on my chart, but it has a reference angle of 60. So that is on my chart. I just need to remember that 120 is actually in quadrant 2. So I need to remember my all students take calculus, and whenever I do the cosine of this angle, I need to make sure I make it negative. Okay, so that's one of those things you got to think about. But that's what you do for 1, 2, and 3. You split your angle into two angles so that you can use your chart, and then those are the values that are going to get plugged into the formula. Okay? For the bottom part, so I'm telling you that the cosine of some angle A is negative 4/5, and I'm also telling you where that angle is located. This angle is between pi, which would be like 180 degrees, and 3 pi over 2. So I'm telling you that the angle is somewhere here in quadrant 3. You need to draw that angle, make a triangle out of it. So there's my angle A. And I need to label the adjacent and the hypotenuse, because that's what knowing the cosine tells you. So my adjacent side is negative 4. My hypotenuse is 5. And now I can use the Pythagorean theorem to get the missing side. And once I know that, I'll know everything. I'll know the sine of angle A, the cosine of angle A, and the tangent of angle A. And then I'm going to be using this picture for the problems down here on the bottom. I'm also going to do that with angle B. I'm going to use this information. I don't want to tell you too much, but I'm going to use this information to draw a second triangle. And then I'm going to be using those two pictures for 4 through 9. Now, 4, 5, and 6, those are like sum and difference formulas. So like number 5, the tangent of A plus B. So I'm going to be using picture A and picture B to plug information into the formula. For 7, 8, and 9, those are like double angle and half angle formulas. So when I go to do this problem, I'm only going to be looking at the picture that involves angle A, because this only involves angle A. Whereas when I do number 9, the sine of 2B, I'm only going to be looking at that triangle that I drew up here for B. That's what I'm going to be plugging in for that one. Okay, so that's the first page. Second page, number 10. Find the sine of the angle that has the cosine value of 5/13 minus the angle that has a cosine value of 4/5. So again, what this is they want to know the sine of some angle A minus some other angle, we'll call that B. So that's the formula I'm going to use. And I'm going to use this information to draw two triangles. I'm going to either go right here, right beneath it, or over here on the side, and I'm going to draw a triangle. Because they're using the inverse notation, okay, if this was a inverse sine, like on number 11, I'm only allowed to use quadrants 1 and 4. So that's what's going to tell me where to draw that picture. If it's an inverse cosine, like on number 10, these are both inverse cosines, I'm going to be using quadrants 1 or 2. Okay, these are both positive values, so hint, hint, that's where you're going to draw your angle. And if it's an inverse tangent, again, we're going to use quadrants 1 or 4, depending on whether it's the inverse tangent of a positive or it's a negative. Okay, so I'm going to draw two triangles, and then I'm going to do exactly what I did for numbers 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to use those two triangles to plug values into the formula for the sine of A minus B for this one. Okay? And then 12 through 17, these are equations. So I need you to solve this equation. I need to know theta is the inverse cosine of negative 1/2. So you're going to go to your chart and you're going to tell me now remember, this is a negative. Think about where cosine's negative. Cosine is positive in quadrants 1 and 4, so it's negative in quadrants 2 and 3. So you need to go find the two angles that have a cosine value of 1/2, but those angles are going to be in quadrants 2 and 3. And that's it. So this one should have two answers. There's only two angles that have a cosine value of negative 1/2. So once you do that, you're done. And then you can move on to number 13, number 14, and so on. We only want the solutions between 0 and 2 pi. So once you don't have to give me any answers that are like more than one revolution. So day 1 of this lesson, we did like all the solutions like to infinity, and you don't need that. Okay? Number 15, remember, if you take the square root, so when you move this over and you do the square root, remember when you do the square root, which is your very first step, remember we want the positive and negative square root. So don't forget the positive and negative. Number 16, you're going to have to do a substitution. This doesn't work. Okay, you're going to need to substitute that into something else to make this work. This is a double angle. Look at the sine double angle formulas and see if a substitution will help you on that. You should have seen something like this on one of your homework problems. And then number 17, I've got a cosine of theta and I have a sine squared of 2 theta. That doesn't work. Okay, I need to turn this sine squared into a cosine squared by using the Pythagorean identities. So again, those are on your formula sheet. Take a look at your Pythagorean identities, and then you should be able to do this one. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of go over that with you. So please work this out to the best of your ability, and then once you've done that, I'll post an answer key for you to check your answers. All right.